Hello, Ilma.
Hi.
Hello. Hello, Shishun.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you. You look so nice.
That's Michael,
Oh,
the top of Michael. And the top is Suzanne. So, very good. Hello, hello.
Now we have already 13 participants. Oh, now 15, not 14.
Yeah, that keeps growing.
Oh, Xin.
You can see the wisdom of the one-child policy.
Yeah. I see you. Oh, Dr. Hu from Hong Kong. Oh, now I'm so happy to see our friends from Hong Kong.
Hello, Dixon.
Hello, nice to see you. Yeah.
It's very nice to see you again.
One Ming, you might want to adjust your thing so we can see a little bit more.
We just see the top of your head, Wang. Just
move because I'm so short that you can only see my
head. That's better.
Lars,
hello, Lars.
Our teacher, grandfather or great-grandfather.
Yes, that's me.
Yes. You look even younger than before.
Come on, don't be silly.
It seems you might not be able to join us in person.
No, we have big problems here with the bad press, and you know, they call me a naive idiot, and the Ministry of Research is going to create a committee that will interrogate me and others that collaborate with Chinese to find out if we are doing something evil to the state and to NATO.
Hello.
Never mind them, just like the weather. We have enjoyed such a long time of good weather. Now there would be clouds, would be raining, even storm, it will be gone. And then the people will...
It's okay, because my conscience is clean. So it's just irritating that we are getting so much bad press.
Hello, Carl. We just see your nice
you have experienced so much.
Hi, friends. How are you?
Apple, huh? Oh, Milton, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Good. Oh la la, you have such short hair. You look even younger. You're already younger. It's very nice to see you. That's a pity. Have you read the report? Germany would end the honeymoon with China with its new, Asian Pacific strategy. I'm so sad.
And the honeymoon keep the marriage going.
One Ming, just wait 2 months.
And at the end of the honeymoon, and then it's the long marriage.
Yes.
Oh, how?
Yes.
Oh, it's so nice to see you again. I see you.
I
You
finally joined you. Happy to see you
Yes,
all.
Hello, Gain.
It's not
good
because
morning, so to
just
speak.
of the high technology. Gain.
Good afternoon, good morning, good night to all of you.
I would say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody.
Hello, Ole.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Hello.
Yes.
Oh la la, another German. I hope our friendship, of course, the honeymoon was far away, many years behind us, right? It's not even
Yes.
Oh la la!
Good to see you, my friend.
It's a long time.
Hello.
Hello, Harry.
Hello.
I'm so happy to see you.
Yes,
I'm so happy.
happy to see all these happy
yes. You have not changed at all. From what I saw you, how many, about 1 year ago, 1 year ago.
Exactly.
Sure, let's raise the banner of Olympics even higher. It's not only running faster, higher, and how to say, faster, higher.
Indeed.
Oh la la, my Indian
Hello.
friend. It's so nice to see you again. It's also
Hello, Samir.
many years ago. I still remember we met for the first time. I think it's in Beijing or in Geneva. When we had such a good time to be in that, and how to say, 7-member advisory board or group for the UN's High Commissioner for Human Rights. That's in Geneva.
Hello.
Yeah, we as good as old as nice.
Smile.
Everybody has undergone little morphological change.
And Yanis, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Such a pleasure to see you all.
Exactly. You see, the world is so small. We can see each other so clearly. We're so close to each other.
Fantastic, fantastic. Oh, Vasily, my mentor.
Yes. That's
Yanni,
right.
yes.
That's right. They both are working
What a pleasure.
so-called Olympic spirit.
We're about to start in a few minutes. A couple of housekeeping things. Xingyu will act as timekeeper. So when you come, wherever there's a set time to speak, so let us know when that time is about to unfold. You don't look like Lucas.
No, ich verstehe das sehr gut. Ja, ja.
I'm working on my growth.
Oh, very good. You are growing well. Yes.
It's an experiment. I can do it in private.
Okay.
Okay, I guess we're ready to.
I will give a welcome address for 3 minutes according to the agenda, which will be approved by all of us if we all agree to it. Good morning from to our friends on the west coast of the United States, and that's right, as well as those on the east coast. And good afternoon for all my teachers and friends in Europe, and then good evening for my native fellows in China. I'm so happy to announce the opening of the first teleconference for all members of the International Independent Advisory Board of the International Conference. Forget what I would have prepared to say. I'm really so happy to see you again. Even we have not seen in person for several years, several months, or only a few days. I would really introduce Ismail to you because in his life, he has experienced even more than most, if not of us. Ismail, please accept my respect, appreciation.
Thank you.
We
Thank you,
really
Eddie.
have been missing you while you were experiencing something really not experienced by all of us or many of the people. I'm very happy to see at least 2 of my teachers and friends who are working for the Olympic spirit. I do enjoy Olympic, even though I myself not do anything on the field or on the track or something. Thank you very much for 2 of you, especially units. Okay, I would not greet each of you. I just say, I'm so happy to see you again. Welcome to this meeting. For the agenda, I would not read it, but let's applaud this. If we agree with the agenda, that's the usual rule for any meeting. Xinyu, would you read the agenda and then we will applaud this? Or anyway, we have already seen it. Okay.
Yes.
So happy.
Go ahead.
And now I will give the floor to the chairman of our IIAB, and Fred and the Lars. Lars has been my teacher and my many BGI's grand teacher, grand teacher, right? Lars, how do you prefer to be called? Okay, now I will give floor to Fred, to Lars, to you both. You will be the chairs of this teleconference. John, please.
Lars, do you want to say a couple of words to start?
No, I think you are the first, so you start.
Okay.
You both are equal just because you refuse to join us. You just don't want to take all the trouble to join us.
Right.
I will thank
I have to
you would
confess,
like to
I've got
join
an
us in
interesting,
person, right? John.
I have an interesting problem. The McAfee antivirus has become a virus and keeps trying to take over my screen. And, let me start with three points in an overview. First of all, as Yang Huaming has said, we have a very unique opportunity. The topic of COVID-19 is one where the amount or the knowledge gap is growing. As fast as we learn things, we learn new things, and we learn some things that we have learned are no longer correct. So where we thought the virus was sort of under control, especially, for instance, in Europe, we're now seeing a resurgence, and we're not quite sure. So the knowledge gap is very, very great. So it's a wonderful time, very perfect time to start talking about it. The second thing that is unique is the idea of bringing both having an online and in-person meeting. And the online meeting is really wonderful because there are hundreds and perhaps thousands of people who would like to participate in an ICG and can't do it because they just cannot get to China. They couldn't get to Shenzhen. And now they have a chance to sit and learn with us. The third thing is that we are building an asset bank of knowledge. All the sessions, all your presentations will be recorded, and they will be made available to universities, to institutions like CDCs, to government around the world. And I think a number of university professors will take the opportunity to use some of these as part of their teaching material. So everything that is said at the ICG will not sort of come to an end as within the walls of the ICG, but will have a much longer and much more profound influence around the world. The second thing I'd like to talk, we've been studying and learning, and we will have individual speaker support. All presentations will be pre-recorded, and there'll be one person from the ICG office assigned to each speaker to help to make sure that the recording goes easily and flawlessly. So you don't have to worry about how your slides will work. Everything will be done prior and can be done and redone if need be. We will have a strict time limit, which will vary between 7 or 8 minutes to perhaps as much as 15 minutes, depending on the session. And that will be the time that your recording will have. So you don't have to worry about time. You'll have ample opportunity to have the kind of presentation you want. And as I said, each speaker will get individual support in order to make their recording. There'll be lots of written material, but also there'll be a young student or young researcher from BGI who will help you on anything where you do need help. The last point are participants. And as I said, we have the opportunity to have many, many more participants participate in the ICG and also participate in exactly the areas where they have interest, where they have questions. So that the audiences that we will have in our sessions will be people who are really interested in the subject, and not there because they have traveled all the way to Shenzhen and they will come into meetings just to listen. So I think these are the things. The participants will have the opportunity to ask questions in 3 ways. One, they can send questions in prior to the session by email. And you as a speaker or the speakers will get these questions from the chair of the session, and they can be dealt with in your recording or in the post presentation discussion panel. The second thing, they can ask questions during the session either by voice or by pressing on a chat button and sending the question into or observation into the meeting directly, and then the chair of the meeting will look at these and make sure that the right person in the group. And thirdly, they can ask questions post-meeting by email, and you will get the question, or the speaker will get the question, or the group of speakers will get the question. So these, I think, will make this meeting extremely unique and very value-adding for everybody who is participating. So that is sort of my introduction on the nuts and bolts. And I think the team under Xingyu have really done a bang-up job up till now, and the kind of support we can expect will be really tremendous. Okay, thank you. Lars, do you want to add anything?
Well, the only thing is that I really regret that I cannot be there in my physical self, but have to do this on the web. But I hope it will work. I haven't really tried anything like this before, but we will do our best. And I have, of course, Luo Yonglun or Alun that can take me by the hand and lead us.
Yeah, yeah. I face perhaps the same problem. I received my China visa on Friday, so I am legally able to get to China. The big question is how, and how to survive the 14 days of quarantine, wherever that might be. So, but right at the current time, I am planning to be in China well prior to the ICG. Okay. All right. I guess we turn the thing over to Xingyu to go through the agenda.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Fred Dubey. So here I will give a brief introduction of the program. So first of all, I would like to thank all advisors for your great contribution here. In the last 2 weeks, we have received a lot of feedbacks from most of you and updated the program accordingly. So here I present the latest version, but it is not the final version. It is still open for further discussion. And some of the sessions will have to be combined in order to be arranged within 5 days. So on the first day, the tradition of ICG will have the Women in Science Conference chaired by Dr. Laura Goodman and Dr. Yutao Du and Gu Ying. The speakers are still under confirmation. And in the morning of October 26th, we'll have the opening ceremony and 2 to 3 keynote speeches. And in the lifetime of October 26th and 27th, we'll have all the sessions related to COVID arranged one by one. As you can see here, there are totally 11 sessions related to COVID. And so I will not read them one by one. And I have sent the document to all of you by email. So starting from October 28, we'll have the other sessions related to omics and global health. Part 2, state-of-the-art technologies of omics, covering topics from like single cells to sequences and synthesis, bioinformatics, big data analysis, and biobanking. Intelligent manufacturing, gene editing, optimal testing, and other innovative ideas and tools related to omics. Some of the chairs have been nominated, but some are still unnominated. Part 3 is global health, and part 4 is global sustainable development. And the last session on October 30 is the Genes of BGI. That is the reunion of the BGI alumni chaired by Dr. Tian Gen. And the last day of the conference is the Science Carnival chaired by Yin Xiangfei and Xia Zhi from BGI Genomics. So that is a brief introduction of the program. And we have confirmed some talks here, but since the topics have not been informed, so we have not characterized them into sessions. And as Professor Fred Dubé has mentioned, there are some responsibilities for the chairs and speakers. Like for chairs, they will be responsible for like nominating and inviting co-chairs and speakers. Each session will be highly recommended to invite at least one female scientist and one BGI, only if there is a qualified one, and one speech selected from the submitted abstracts. The deadline for confirming the speakers is September 27. And the chairs are also responsible for planning the content of the session and drafting a brief introduction. All session chairs should participate live in their sessions, moderate the sessions and the discussions. And for speakers, they'll need to submit an abstract for the talk, a brief biography, a photo of himself or herself, and all the sessions have to be pre-recorded. We will provide full support, technical support and guidance for you to finish the recording. And the speakers are recommended to participate live for their sessions in the Q questions and panel discussions. And after the conference, we will confirm with all speakers by email about whether their presentations can be made accessible on the official website to all the registered participants. So, okay, that is my brief introduction. See if you have further questions, and we can move to the discussion on the program chaired by.
I have a very tiny question, namely, when you send us papers, please put the number per page so that we can easily handle them.
Okay, I will in the following documents. Yeah, thank you.
Good suggestion.
My first and last.
Please, this is Yanis. Just to ask a question to also to Fred and to Lars in particular. Is there, and also to my friend Huoming Yang, is there interest in publishing papers from this event so that not only can people attend and listen to the talks, but as a motivation for people to attend and also to present, can we publish select papers in a special edition? Is there interest to do that?
Okay, I think we might publish in 3 ways. The first, only the abstracts by themselves, and then it could be referred to our records of all the talks or the relevant talks. Then the second, we can ask the authors to give us, how to say, the copyright, and then we also invite them to write a short introduction for his talk. It's longer than the abstract. The third way, if we can, of course, we would very much thank the authors to give us the copyrights. We publish them in the type of papers. I think that's right. Xinyi, just make a note that we will ask the speakers for the authorization of the, how to say, copyright.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's a very good idea. It's something we should do, right? Thank you, Yanis.
My friend, one more follow-up question, if I may. Do you have a particular scientific journal in mind? Because I know there are journals out there who contact us at different times wishing to give us access to a special edition or and so on. Do you have a particular journal in mind, or are you talking about a publication that BGI may do independent to a scientific journal? What's your view?
Sure. Excuse me, Laurie. Are you there? That's a pity. We have how to say, Empress. She will give the last words. I think that's okay. But Yanis, if you have any suggestion to the exact what journal, we will also discuss about. And then I have to say, Rory would have the priority, is it right? And Fred?
Yes.
No, she is not here. I'm very afraid of her. Every year I have been criticized seriously by her. You have more than 40% of the, how to say, the BGIers who are female, but you only have 50% of the speakers every year. So this year, please introduce or recommend more female scientists, female speakers. Laurie? No, that's a pity.
I just checked. She's not here.
No, she's not here.
Sure, no problem, no problem.
But
I think it's very, very good comments. A very good comment regarding either publish the abstract or
Yes.
conference proceedings together with maybe gigabytes or gigascience.
Yes, that the bigger sense has the priority.
Yeah.
Oh, we will, anyway, but that's a good idea. And I think I would also second Yanis that we will publish as many as possible in a way.
Yeah.
And I think there we can count on Laurie for at least very good advice. And if you have indications for us, suggestions, then please share them, and we will also work with those. Okay. Now I think I saw that Ole wants to speak, and who else was Gain? Were you one of the?
Yes, again, you're a loud speaker. You always give me many ideas from any angle, any way.
Ismail wants to speak. Okay.
I have learned how to listen to you, how to agree with you, cooperate with you.
Thank you.
Then please.
Who, am I speaking now, Fred?
Yes, yes. Why don't you go ahead? And so
okay, I have three quick observations.
Ole and then Gain. And is there anybody else on that list? I can only see part. Can you take off the agenda from the screen, shared screen, please?
Just stop share screen.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right, so that way we can see all the people. All right, so Ismail, you're on.
Yes, thank you. I have just three very quick observations. The first one, in keeping with the idea of having the pre-recorded speeches plus the abstracts or an extended abstract, each of which would have a link to the actual presentation that would remain online, available online, I think would be a very good thing until we settle the issue of the full publication with a journal or a special issue or otherwise. But at least that should be there so that all the participants will have their pre-recorded speech available on the website. and with a link that would be on a published version that would be made available along with abstracts. Secondly, for my own participation and that of a number of distinguished women scientists, I think there are two places where I think I could make a contribution. One of them is agriculture. I was for 7 years head of the CGIAR, but also for the gene editing ethics, because I was a member of the panel of the US National Academy of Science, the US National Academy of Medicine, that did the governance of genome editing for humans. But there's also a very distinguished lady who is Alta Sharo. She's a professor. She was the co-chair of that panel, and she's a professor of law and bioethics at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. And she's very, very good. And obviously the issue of bioethics, as we advance more and more into the area of biotechnology and new applications and so on, becomes important. On the agriculture side, I noticed you have a number of speakers, including Agnes Kalabata and Von Braun. Von Braun is, they're all very good people. But if you need more, I can provide you additional names, because you also asked to know more about people, especially women scientists from places where you don't get too many of them, like the Middle East, for example. There is the head of the biosaline agriculture, young lady, very effective. And there is the current head of the science of the CEO of the CGIAR is also Claudia Seidov, who used to be the head of the Water Institute in Sri Lanka before she's taken over that bigger job right now for all of the CGIAR system. So I can provide additional names for distinguished women scientists who are good speakers, and also if you want to fill different sessions. Now, as a session speaker, you said, I think, no more than 20 minutes or whatever, but now you said something like 7 minutes, and I would like to have a clarification on that to know pretty much what I have to prepare and where. That's my.
That's a good idea. Usually, there cannot be too many invitees. We can arrange it in 3 ways. First, that's the plenary talks or keynotes speech that would be giving 30 minutes. And then we have the general talks. We can also have the panel discussion. There might be even 10 panelists. Everybody would be giving 3 minutes for the summary, something like that. And then, in the general way for panel discussion. So I think even for 2 hours, at the most, we can even have 10 speakers.
Ismail, just on that, for the speakers, it will be up to the panel chair or the session chairman, depending on how many speakers there are, how much time will be allotted for each speaker. Okay, so it can vary, as I said, between, I think, around 7 to 15 minutes. That would be about it. We want to have time for discussion. It's very interesting. We had the meeting a few days ago, and the idea was to have 20 minutes of discussion. At the end, it turned out we had 1.5 minutes for discussion, and that always happens. So by policing this very well in the pre-recorded sessions, we can have that time for discussion between the speakers, and also to answer questions from the audience. Okay, good. Does that answer your?
In part, yes, but I guess we'll have to discuss with the chairs of the particular sessions.
Right, that where you are, and how much time will be needed, and so on. But I would not make it too long. We also know that people sitting in a 90-minute panel, it's a long time to sit in front of a small computer screen.
Indeed, indeed. But we are talking about pre-recorded now, right?
Yes,
Everything
yes,
is
we're talking about
pre-recorded.
pre-recorded. Okay, who was next? I think it was it Ole?
Yes,
Ola?
thank you, Fred. And yes, hello, thank you. Hello, everyone. I share the sentiment that many people hate not being able to physically attend the session, but I would also like to embrace the opportunity that this comes along or brings about. And this is what Fred described in the beginning as a kind of shift of the conference structure. And I would like to add just as a comment perhaps or a suggestion that we could really embrace this as an opportunity to improve not only our outreach, that's what Fred already described, but also perhaps the creativity of the way we organize the sessions. And this is why I'm just asking if it's allowed or if we see this as an opportunity, for example, not only to record or pre-record lecture style input, but maybe also have an interview style, or we have a discussion style, conversation style. This is just for everybody to consider. I think me as a chairman, I will definitely pursue that. I have not done this when I was speaking to speakers, to potential speakers. I didn't check whether they would prefer this style. And I think there's a lot of depending of course on the theme and the content of the session. And this brings me to my second and last comment, rather a suggestion to all of you. It looks like the session that I'm going to chair now is going to be a two-part session where we have still some space for speakers. And I would just like to very briefly emphasize here, very clearly emphasize here, that this is going to be an interdisciplinary session, which reflects on interdisciplinarity in science, and with an aim to discuss transdisciplinary issues of science. And this would be very much bigger in its impact and credibility if we have a vast diversity of disciplines actually presented there. So if please have a look at the outline once it's published among us, and the description, and nominate speakers. Of course, please do it by yesterday or maybe Wednesday, because we are running out of time for this. But having in mind that we have a more discursive opportunities now, and we have a shift from a conference mode of the conventional style to the interactive educational forum academy style. I don't know how to coin this properly, but I think this is also an opportunity to get better in terms of being interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary. Thank you.
Thank you, Ole. That's an excellent suggestion. As you mentioned that, I was thinking about the Khan Academy as ways of presenting different things, interviews, videos. I think you're right. Make it interesting. The way to a person's brain and heart is through their eyes and their ears, and the livelier it is, the better it will be. So yes, that creativity is very important in how the things are presented. Okay, so thank you very much. Excellent thing. Okay, and as you said, you will publish, and every session chair, every board member will get a copy of the outlines prepared by the session chairman, so that you can see what is happening in other sessions. So that you will get, and then we would ask you to please do the same thing back, so that we use this to really make sure that the ICG is as integrated as possible, but also as diverse as possible. On that, I would also ask you to think of who you would like the ICG to invite as participants, maybe not as speakers, but as participants. And I will go into that in a little bit more detail later on when we're talking about the marketing of the ICG. All right, next is, was it Gain? Did you want to say something, Gain? Did you not want to say something?
Not sure what to say. I mean, I still don't understand how this is going to work. I get the sense that it might be better if some of these talks were pre-recorded. It's just not just the time zone, but I don't know how to present on Zoom. It's there's sort of the lack of interactivity is a real problem because of the time zones. I don't know how best to do that.
Again, all talks will be pre-recorded. Okay, so that will make it even for everybody, and it also allows you to do, you know, dry runs and correct things if you want to do that. So that's the idea, is that everything will be, all the talks will be pre-recorded. The discussions, of course, will not be.
Okay, so that's good. Yeah, that was the also answer to the next question. This discussion, there's the issue of getting compatible time zones. That's another challenge.
Well, that will be a problem, but since it will be once every year, we hope that people can either wake up a little bit earlier or go to bed a little bit later.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And our I guess the quarantines are still on. I'm chatting with Xu Jun on the sideline, and so it sounds like the quarantines are still on right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, no one's going to want to come to China on a 14-day quarantine.
That's real. That's a very, and that's why it will be, except for the Chinese participants in Wuhan, which will be a fairly large contingent. For all the non-Chinese residents, it will be an online conference. So I think that if we look at priority, our priority is to make a tremendously good online conference and then fit the people in Wuhan into that, and that will work well. Okay.
Yeah. So I think the idea of having things pre-recorded makes a lot of sense. Some sort of, I don't know, some sort of a publication or thing might actually make sense given the circumstances. I'm not sure how exactly to do it, whether you publish it in written form or video forms or.
Right. But I think that the publishing is a very important suggestion, and something that I think we'll work, first of all, with Lori, who is our expert on publishing, on different ideas, and then we'll present those to the board, and you guys can have your say of how best to do that. Okay. We'll give you some options.
Hi, can I come in at this moment?
Yes, Michael.
I think it would be certainly helpful for me, because I really don't have the foggiest idea what I'm going to be doing as a co-chair. But I think it might be useful if we had a list of all of the chairs, speakers, etc. that we have now, and their email address, so that we can correspond. There's a lot to be done over the next 8 weeks or whatever it is.
Right.
And at the moment, I don't see this is a particularly easy way of communicating. If this is the only way we're going to do it. So I'm happy to have my email address broadcast, so to speak. And if others are, it'd be very useful to have them.
Yeah, I think that you can rest assured you will get. Okay, that there will be there was a tentative list of chairs, but now we are coming to the point where we can have a definitive list of chairs, and I will ask each one if they will allow their email addresses to go, but I think you can rest assured that all will. So I don't think that we'll run into problems there. Excellent suggestion. Thank you.
Okay. I note that I'm the only person who is actually supposedly sharing a chair with Mohammed Hassan. I'm not sure how that will work. I think it was possible that we were both put up our names as potentially being chairs, and I certainly would be quite happy to stand down as chair and allow Mohammed to do it on his own.
Well, likewise for me, I would be very happy to let you do it, and then I can be a speaker, because I noticed that there are not enough speakers. So I would be happy to make a contribution as a speaker.
Mohammed, one thing, a chair can be a speaker. Okay, that we had that ethical discussion with Ole, and there is nothing to stop you from being both a chair and a speaker. I've participated in a number of meetings in the last sort of 6 weeks, I guess, where there have been actually up to 3 co-chairs for one session. and it worked quite well because one is sort of the policeman or the traffic cop, and the other two are adding their comments and so on in the session. So it works quite well. But if you only want to have one chair, that's also fine.
Okay. All right. Well,
we wanted to also recognize people's special contributions.
Can I just make a couple of comments? The first one, if we are to offer this type of possibility of publishing contributions from speakers, wouldn't it be a good idea to notify them that there is this possibility so that they can prepare themselves better if they feel that their contribution might be published somehow? Not to leave it to the last.
Yeah, excellent, good. And I think Wang Ming said that we will do everything possible to get the papers published. We don't know where yet or how, but that's a goal that we have now set for ourselves.
Great.
So of course we will inform the speakers and ask them also for their agreement that we can do that. Okay.
The second point, very quickly.
You had another point.
Yeah. I just want to mention the session on food security and nutrition. That is certainly going to be a very, very important session in view of the fact that the Secretary General of the United Nations is convening a major summit next year. It is a Food Systems Summit. And he's mobilizing everybody around the world, policymakers, scientists, and politicians, and so on. It's going to be a huge event. And fortunately, they have now formed a group to look into the science of food systems as a whole. And I nominated the chair of that science group, Joachim von Braun from Germany. I think it would be great if we can actually secure his participation, because the input of ICG-15 into the process of this conference next year, I think is going to be quite fundamental in view of the omics and all the things related to it that feed into the food systems. So I just want to underscore the importance of that particular session, and I think we have to make sure that we have good speakers and we come with concrete recommendations to feed into the process of the conference next year.
Yeah, excellent. As you know, the WHO and the FAO have both talked about the famine or the lack of food accessibility that COVID-19 is causing directly and indirectly. At the same time, in the last few days, there's been more talk about some pests, whether they be for animals or plants, that are having a very negative effect on Africa, may also have a very negative effect on China if there's another bout of swine flu. So we're looking really at this from two angles. So the whole food question, access to appropriate nutrition is an extraordinarily important element of this discussion. Thank you. Who else is on the? Yes, Ismail.
Chairman, on this point, first of all, I see also among the names Agnes Kalibata, and she is the designated person by the UN Secretary General for the Food Summit of 2021.
Okay.
So that's a person who could have, I think, an important role in that particular session. Secondly,
yes, it would be good to tie her into the BGI or the genomics network,
yes,
the global genomics network on that. So excellent, really good.
And we have also, I have a number of women scientists who are very distinguished in the genomics side linking to agricultural production. And I think Mohammed Hassan and I know some of them, from Nina Fedorov to Hanil Wafi and others who are represent, I think, a good participation to bring to the both for gender and geographic balance. We need both geographic and gender balance. And finally, you may have something to address this famine question. We did, of course, publish an open letter signed by 70 heads of state and 500 agricultural scientists saying to people, COVID is important, but don't forget what's happening on the food side. And in that, I can send that to the Secretariat, and they will find many, many distinguished names to look at.
Right. Thank you. Swaming. Yes, Swaming.
Yes, yes. I think that's right. We should have more participants from both Africa and South America. We will talk about the problems, challenges besides the pandemic. The first issue is really food. I really think even China, now food would become a potential, I would say, risk, let's just say so, if not a disaster. I think that's right, that's right. And what about Africa? Should we have more invitees from Africa and South America? Because especially India.
One thing,
yes,
I actually nominated several Africans.
As you know, for my session, I have already recommended, I'm inviting the director of Africa CDC, Jan Contex, so he will be participating.
Yilma, if I wanted to make a point there. Can you ask him to help us invite all the African CDCs, all the national CDCs to the ICG, and also through them to invite universities, life science professors, so that they're aware of this, and they're aware also that not only can their students participate free of charge, but they can also access all of the data bank that we're building, all of the presentation bank. This would be ideal if we could do that in Africa, if we could do that in India. I think we already discussed this with the Brazilians, the Brazilian Academy of Science, and hopefully they will support that in Brazil, so that we can really get as broad a participation of scientists, of researchers, and of students as possible.
Fred, what I will do is John will actually could organize it through the African Academy of Sciences, which would have contact to all the national academies in Africa.
Wonderful.
And then there is an official in the Ethiopian Academy of Sciences who plays a very, Professor Masresha Wanminyang knows him. He plays an important role in that group. So I will make sure that that information is passed to John and to Professor Masresha.
Wonderful. And I think if each of us could do that, for instance, certainly Lucas can do the same thing with his broad network at MIT and Harvard and Boston University and so on. So if we all help, I will do the same in Finland to make sure that we get things, and perhaps Dr. Han can do it with the main foundations and research institutes in Germany and Europe. That will help very much if we can do it to get people involved and interested in this, and also interested in using the information that the ICG will produce.
Yeah, I think Africa CDC should really participate in this. Right. And John should be a speaker, and I have recommended, and he's agreed.
Okay. And perhaps Michael can help us with the UK and Lars with Denmark, and that way we can use our own networks to. And this is very different. In the past, you were inviting somebody to come to an ICG. You had to invite them to a long trip, and you had to invite them to 4 or 5 days away from home. and you had to invite them into it, you know, so there were lots of barriers, physical barriers that would stop people from accepting the invitation. Today, with the online approach, it's much easier, and people can participate actually when they want to.
Can I ask a question? Coming to participation from people in the UK, did the head of the Wellcome Trust ever get back to you, Waming?
No, not yet.
Jeremy Farrar?
I will send an invitation again, sure.
Because he's an infectious disease expert.
Right.
He's on the SAGE committee in the United Kingdom on COVID-19. I was a little bit surprised not to see him on the program after we'd had those discussions. I, from a personal point of view, having been retired from any science laboratory for cracking on 20 years now, I'm go back to really thinking about genomics as being to do with DNA and sequencing and stuff. I'm a little surprised that so much of the program is actually devoted to other sort of socio-economic matters of which I have no expertise whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, as I think Wellman said at the beginning, this is really interdisciplinary, and no science is an island, if you like. It's tied, all tied in. So we have to look at some of these things, and especially when we look at the ethical side of all our work, we see how intertwined it is with everything that's going on. So I think, yes, Ole, please.
I'm not denying that. I'm simply saying I have no expertise.
Okay, well, you have your expertise where it's important, then that's, we can't be jacks of all trade and know all the errors, but it's very good to bring these people together. I think Ole will add something to that. Ole.
Thank you, Fred. I think we can take it even a little bit further in making use of this awkward situation by discussing the different kind of allocation of presentations. If it's possible, and if there's a kind of executive decision among us to accept that, I would propose that we open the opportunity to share presentations. That would mean that, for example, if there is an interesting paper in the that is assigned to the ethics or any other session that I think is very meaningful and educational and very well suited also within the framework of the transdisciplinary session, that I get the license to ask the speaker or the chair of this session to share, so that we actually do have the opportunity to actually be at the same place, at different places at the same time. So this is something that I would just, it opens endless new opportunities, this situation. So if you think about it, usually we only have this very fixed itinerary and fixed schedule. But what do you think about this idea to actually share presentations among each other? Of course, in an orderly fashion.
Ari, you've been very quiet. We'd like to hear from you.
Yeah.
Ari?
Ari?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just was muted. Well,
okay,
I
good.
don't really have anything to say at this point, Fred. I'm taking it in right now and I'm digesting it.
Okay, but I think one of the things that I personally have been working on is more and more to help young scientists understand the context in which they are working, in which they are doing their research, because it's too easy to be super focused on what you are doing and not be aware of where it's happening. And I think this is one of the things that we are trying to do with this ICG is open some eyes to help the genomics experts understand more about the overall context, and the others to understand more about genomics and how genomics can contribute. And this certainly, Ismail, in the area of food is very, very critical.
Yeah, thank you.
Henry,
Fred, if I may, just on Oli's comment, aren't we all going to have access to all the papers since everything is going to be pre-recorded? If everything is pre-recorded, you can pretty much pick and choose through the whole program, especially if it's made available like, well, as it's expected in the timeline to be available like a week before or something like that, then you can really have a new experience which allows you to pretty much visit practically everything.
Yeah, I think you're correct. All right, we have 5 left before the appointed time comes to an end.
Yeah. Samia, important Samia from India, Samia.
Yeah. I think Fred is unable to see Zoom. You can raise your hand on the computer. So I've raised my hand very beginning. So I think Zoom technology and our GeoMeet technology is identical. So I have been doing at least 1,000 hours of Zoom last 200 days. Okay.
Good.
India has COVID has made a tremendous benefit to India. You know, we were not doing digital education. We have now completely digital education, including in rural India. Okay, so there are lots of positive of COVID. Instead of taking only the negative of COVID, how our behaviors have changed. You know, we are talking about conferences. I hate to attend such a conference because I want to travel, coming back, you know, go to another meeting. I can attend the same meeting in 2 days in 2 parts of the world. In the morning, I do a New York meeting, and evening, I'm doing an India meeting. So I think the technology part, the transformation that has happened. So my suggestion is, you know, we are still trying to organize the meeting the way old time we have done. We are used to it. We are not used to. So I will say, once you have put it up, everything on the website, it becomes like a Facebook. So I would like 3-4 things to be included. One is the pre-recorded, great idea, pre-recorded. But the interaction has to be live. So my request is, USA, East Coast, West Coast, you should put the programs late in the evening. And or very early in the morning, so that depending on the time zone. So the program should be set with lots of time zone in mind so that you can have discussions. Otherwise, you won't have discussion. You are, definitely, I believe that one panel discussion on COVID is very important. You know, I have worked on, you know, as Henry knows, I'm a genomic scientist. I built an Institute of Genomics in India, where everybody was working on different things, but every whole institute converged into only on COVID biology. You know, in 180 days, we have learned so much of science, but all started from the first sequence of the genome. So, you know, COVID has taught us why 25, 30 years back, we needed to do genome sequence. Without genome, there wouldn't have been diagnostics. So I think it's a very good forum to tell people that how genomics to the system, political system, to everybody, that how genomics has played a role in creating our preparedness. You know, this is a 20, 30 years of investment has gone in to which we could do 200 days, so much of science. Now, this is a good possibility to addressing to the policymakers, to the funders, to the government bodies, that 200 days of science has come out of 30 years or 20 years of investment in genomics. You know, since when BGI was born, you know, around that time. So my suggestion is, one COVID-19 panel we should have. One of the things is bothering me is that why the death percentage
is so different? Why the same virus infecting different people differently? So how is the host genome with the viral genome is interacting? You know, how do we use the data, the big data that we have generated? How do you use this data in a granular form? Why these districts? You know, India provides a fantastic granular data, because if you look at the map and you look at the disease patterns, you will realize that the Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India shares very low death rate. Now, is it cross-reacting to other diseases? Is it there is a tuberculosis, malaria? Are there protections? So, you know, there is a huge opportunity of host genomics being linked to the viral epidemiology to understanding host immune system interaction. How does the, is herd immunity is to be same as in California? You know, all mathematical models have a problem because we assume that everybody interacts with everybody. So I will say we need to have a little more progressive sessions, more challenging questions. You know, because Henry has called me, I don't attend such advisory board meeting. Everybody, I don't meet all of you. But it's Henry, you know, since he has asked me, I can't say no. So I have agreed. So my suggestion is, one, there has to be a panel discussions, because so many papers have come with so many diversified views and objections. You know, where do we stand? What is the conclusion we are having? Number two, we are talking about drugs. We are talking about vaccine. I think I have written an article with about 80 scientists across the world. We have written. The idea is to see how do we use this opportunity instead of competitive science to become a collaborative science. You know, the fact that I and Henry are together on the same screen, because we learned long back that our science should be, our science, any problem? Our science should be boundaryless. And this is I think.
We do think alike. We have to
Yes.
emphasize the importance of genomics and the sequence. We will have a panel discussion at least about the technology.
So I
issue.
will suggest
And Susan,
number
are
two,
you there, Susan?
podcast.
Susan Wallens, Professor Susan Wallens. Michael? Yeah.
Dilma.
Sorry,
before-
this program, this call was scheduled for an hour, and I'm afraid she is already on another teleconference.
Right,
But I can
okay.
pass on any questions. I could probably
Wonderful.
answer most of them, as she's not listening.
Okay, thank you.
Fred?
Yilma, yes.
Can I make one before the session is over? Can I share one slide with our group?
Sure.
Would I be allowed to share one slide?
Yes. I
Share
don't know how you can do it, but
okay. Hold on. Can you see it?
no.
You have to share the screen.
Okay. That's what I did. Let me see. Let me try again.
You have to be a host to do that.
All right.
This is why pre-recording helps.
Okay. Just 1 second. Can you see it now?
No.
You have to allow me to share it, whoever the host.
Okay, can I just make a comment while you're doing that? Samir, you have just defined the first session in the COVID group. You have now defined the content of it. Thank you. That is really good. I just, one of the things I have found, I started to look at reports from pathologists, and almost every report published or every study published by a pathologist, whether it's in the Lancet or the New England Journal of Medicine or wherever, always has a thing, we are producing so much valuable information, nobody is getting it. And we have thousands of pathologists around the world. where we have to find a way to get that information because it's very vital to knowing where we're going, and we're not doing it. So this is the kind of issue that we will bring up in that first session.
Yeah. So one of the objectives
looking...
is to collect the pathology data, phenotype data, deep phenotype data.
Yeah.
And deep phenotype data is only going to allow us to understand the pandemic of tomorrow.
Yeah.
What is the second wave? Why is the second wave? The same person will get infected or not. You know, so I believe that data-driven decision-taking is going to be the future for genomics. You know, it's not question is the mutation, is the change in the 642 site of the aspartic to glycine. How is the flexibility change in the protein? How is the ACE2 binding has suddenly gone up? So all these things, I think, need some input. You know, I can suggest, I don't know, I did not look through an understanding. I was so busy with the COVID situation in India and working with my younger colleagues. I will suggest that in the interdisciplinary, I can suggest a very young girl who can, I will send a mail to you and figure it out.
Wonderful.
The host is not.
Professor Henry Lee, 李先生你好，非常高兴见到你 ，Professor Henry Lee, and also Locus, my old friend, as well as Matthias Ullern.
Yes, I'm sorry that it's so late, but I have the...
Hello, Dr. Lee. Hello.
Hello.
Yilma, can you show us your
I wanted
slide?
to, but it says the host disabled participant. So you have, the host has to allow me to share it.
I have not disabled anyone for sharing their screen.
Okay.
So probably you
Yilma,
can
you
send
hold
it to me.
Can you hold the copy up in front of your camera?
Okay.
Yes, you just show the screen.
It says host disabled, but I will try again.
No, just if you can put it in
If
front of
you
your
able
camera,
it,
that would be
you
good.
can see it. All right, let me try. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Okay, I wanted to make a comment. This is the Prime Minister of Ethiopia on our New Year Day, which is day before yesterday, opened the BGF factory that is producing kit for Africa. So I would like to thank Wan Mingyang and BGI for this major contribution. Congratulations again for the 21-year anniversary, Wan Ming.
As I say, it's not that we help you, it's you also help us. Thank you very much.
Were you able to see it anyway?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just wanted to show that.
Thank you.
In fact, it was so important. The Prime Minister opened it on our New Year's Day because there was so much excitement. And thank you, Wan Ming, and thank you, BGI.
The short and the brief speech. Okay.
Can you send me a copy of that, please, Yilma?
I will do that.
Thank you.
Hello,
Dr. Lee. Nice to see you.
Professor Henry Lee.
Okay. I really enjoy everybody's comment and discussion. I'm like a fish out of the water. Just in training, I'm a molecular biologist, but I'm in forensic science for 60-some years now. Just now, Fred mentioned about forensic pathology. There are slight differences. That we're doing is forensic pathology. And what you mentioned is hospital pathology. So whatever the data, information have to go through the hospital pathology department. Medical examiner really don't get involved in autopsy of COVID patients. Our job basically look at a different angle. That's even more social aspect of effect on crime. That effect, a lot of people stay home too long, commit suicide. In the United States, of course, homicide have a tremendous rise, and a lot of a demonstration in regards to police brutality. So all those I think it's another aspect of COVID effect on a human being.
Right.
So I really don't have much to contribute. I think everybody else doing a wonderful job. I learned all those papers you send. I read it. I really learn a lot from everybody else. Thank you so much to including me.
Thank you very much for your joining us and guiding us. And Matthews, Matthews, it's so nice to see you again. Oh yeah, actually many months.
Yes, and I must also say that I'm extremely grateful for the collaboration that our institute has had with BDI during the last year or so. We are releasing a fantastic new pig atlas, which we very soon. We are doing a lot of single cell analysis together with BDI, and we also set up the largest diagnostic lab for corona in Sweden with BDI help. So we are now overwhelmed with all the tests that we're doing right now. So we're very grateful to BDI. And I'm looking forward to the meeting in the end of September. No, end of October, I mean.
Thank you very much for your understanding and then for long-term support, encouragement to us. And the locus.
Well, always glad to be joining everyone. I actually have a list of logistical issues, but I will send them to you. But is someone taking notes and is going to be following up with us with tasks and things like that? I think we'll all be very responsive to be reminded about what we agreed to or what we need to be done. And in fact, I'll amend it by saying, given it's important to make things happen quickly, maybe we want to have a few more of these over the next few weeks, where our actions in terms of finalizing panels or recruiting people or asking, does anyone know XYZ person that we'd like to recruit? We don't know, et cetera, just anything to help us be more targeted and helping making this a great success.
Okay, great. I think we will have, as soon as we have now the draft agenda ready, and we can share that with you by email, but we also should have a final discussion on it to make sure that we're all marching in the same direction, and that we have dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's on our side. And if people have other ideas or new information, we should look at that. Okay.
Peter,
I guess.
Peter Bona.
Yeah. Hi, Henry.
Are you
I'm here. I've been here since. Yeah.
Oh, Peter. Hello.
Hi there, Fred. Good morning. Hello there.
of
I beg your pardon? Please ask your question, Henry. Go ahead.
I say appreciate. I'm very grateful to your great contribution of
Well, the contribution will be when we have that that very faithful conference of yours. I think I could maybe add, when I heard that from the colleague in India, the importance of data in the outbreak in this current situation. GISAID is actually, as we speak, this very moment, just crossing 100,000 virus genomes that we are sharing. And in a few hours, I think when in Geneva, the press conference will be with Mr. Tedros, that will announce the 100K number. It's a huge accomplishment. So I think it'll be an interesting panel that we will contribute, because we'll probably bring in fields from the, the genomic epidemiology, from viral evolution, from the clinical side, and to demonstrate how data has really changed the way you make decisions, particularly in an outbreak scenario. So that would be a very interesting one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you for your joining us. Mirtos, are you there? Mirtos?
Yes, I'm here, but muted. Nothing to add. I'm very happy with the arrangements so far. I only, as Lucas said, we need to now have a bit of a very strict guidelines and timeline of how to approach, but I think everything is well in order. So I'm glad, nothing to add so far.
No, thank you very much for your remindings. So Fred, now back to you.
Yes, well, I think with these words, everybody has sort of helped give together a summary. There will be, well, you're going to get a recording of this session. So if there are things that you wanted to see in more detail, you can do it. And we'll send out the list of the sessions, the chairs of the sessions, open points, more guidance directions, and the date for the next meeting, which should be as soon as we have really the let's say the pre-final itinerary, pre-final agenda of the entire ICG-15. Okay. So with that, I would like to thank you, everybody, for yes, yes.
Fred, sorry, I'm being a little precious, but shouldn't you ask our permission to publish this stuff? I mean, normally one does not expect stuff to be recorded and then rebroadcast. I'm just making an ethical point.
Thank you. That's well taken. That will only be shared with us and the other board members who are not with us, if you agree. So if anybody has any objection, I know you want your beauty salon to help a little bit with the mustache, but otherwise, but that is a good point. We have to obey that, and we've tried to do it with all the things that we're doing. So thank you, Michael, for reminding us of that point. But this will be shared only with the board members, those who are here, and those who couldn't make it for whatever reason. Okay. Any objections? No. All right. Well, again, on behalf of Yang Huaming and all the team, especially Xing Yu and her group, who have done a wonderful support job up to now, and will work even harder after this motivational meeting. I'd like to thank you all and wish everybody a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good night, depending on where you are in the world. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye-bye.